Para el siguiente round. Una, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete.
Edgar Berlanga is no stranger to pressure. But with his fight against the legendary Canelo Álvarez just hours away, a viral video showcasing Canelo's intense neck training regimen has added an extra layer of unease. Berlanga, known for his knockout power, is now facing a Canelo who seems to be preparing specifically to handle his formidable strength. If Canelo is specifically training to counter Berlanga's main weapon, it's no surprise that Berlanga feels a bit intimidated. Canelo Álvarez, already a giant in the sport, has never been knocked down throughout his impressive career. With 61 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws in his 65-fight journey, the Mexican legend has built his success on a combination of iron will, extraordinary skill, and a meticulous training regimen. The recent viral video, which has sparked widespread reactions on social media, features Canelo performing a grueling neck exercise on a Bouts ball. At first glance, it might seem straightforward, but the exercise is both challenging and risky. The footage shows Canelo rolling his neck, a drill reminiscent of the famous exercise used by boxing legend Mike Tyson in his prime. However, Canelo takes it further by executing the movement on an unstable Bouts ball, adding a level of difficulty that pushes the limits of physical endurance. This exercise, known to strengthen neck muscles, is believed to contribute to Canelo's ability to absorb powerful punches without faltering. It's a stark reminder of why Canelo is considered one of the pound-for-pound best in boxing. The video's impact on social media is a clear indication of its psychological effect on Berlanga.
From Caleb, from Golovkin, all these other opponents he's faced.
One thing for sure is that I'm a puncher. One thing for sure, I have no respect for him, in that ring. Number 3, I'm not scared of him. Number 4, I could box, bro. And people
as the fight draws near. If Canelo is training this hard, it means he knows he is up against someone who brings significant power in the ring, and he is creating a guard against it. Sources close to Edgar Berlanga's camp have reported an atmosphere of unease since the video went viral. While Berlanga has never lacked confidence in his power and skill, the sight of Canelo performing such a physically taxing and potentially dangerous exercise has allegedly sent shockwaves through his team. Berlanga knows he's up against a guy who's not just skilled but practically unbreakable. You don't get a chin like that by accident. Berlanga has built his career on his knockout power, but going up against Canelo, a fighter with a proven track record of absorbing punches from the likes of Gennady Golovkin and Dmitry Bivol, has led to growing concerns within Berlanga's camp. For the first time in his career, Berlanga may be facing a fighter who simply can't be broken, either physically or mentally. The key to Canelo's ability to stay upright through 65 fights lies in his dedication to strengthening his neck muscles, a crucial yet often overlooked aspect of boxing training. By developing a neck that can absorb the shock of a punch, Canelo has turned what many consider to be a physical vulnerability into one of his greatest assets. The neck training video has not only reignited discussions about Canelo's extraordinary durability, but has also drawn the attention of medical professionals. Brian Sutterer, a well-known sports doctor, weighed in on the viral video, warning of the potential risks of such exercises. "Don't do this," Sutterer tweeted. "The cervical spine is not built to tolerate high and dangerous compressive loads like this. If you want to strengthen your neck, do it without putting a load through the top of your head." Even Harvard Medical School chimed in, issuing a cautionary note that the exercise could cause serious harm to anyone with a weakened neck or spine. But for Canelo, these warnings seem to be mere background noise as he continues to push his body to its limits in pursuit of victory. This particular exercise might seem extreme, but for Canelo, It's just another day in the gym. The Mexican star has long maintained that his neck training is crucial to his ability to take a punch, and with 65 fights under his belt, it's hard to argue with the results. Canelo's resilience has been tested against some of the hardest hitters in the sport, and he's never once been dropped. A remarkable feat for a fighter who has been competing at the highest level for over 18 years. Berlanga, known for his explosive punching power and undefeated record, has always walked into fights with an aura of invincibility. However, facing Canelo has clearly put him in uncharted waters. While he has spoken confidently in the lead-up to the fight, claiming that he's ready to dethrone the Mexican champion, the sudden shift in tone following the release of Canelo's training footage suggests a more complex reality. One of the most telling signs of Berlanga's anxiety came in his reaction to Canelo's neck training video. "I'm not worried about that," Berlanga said. "I've trained hard too. I'm ready for whatever he brings." But those close to the fighter paint a different picture. The question hanging over Berlanga's head is whether he can deliver the kind of knockout power needed to stop Canelo, a fighter whose neck alone seems to be made of steel. The panic is evident, and with each passing hour it becomes clearer that Berlanga's team is scrambling to find a solution to the Canelo puzzle. In a sport where confidence is everything, the psychological battle is already well underway, and it's unclear if Berlanga can regain his footing before fight night. For Canelo, the upcoming fight is just another day at the office. Despite Berlanga's power and undefeated record, Canelo remains unfazed, showing the calm confidence of a fighter who has seen it all. In a recent interview, Canelo shrugged off the idea that Berlanga could pose a serious threat. "I like them like that. I like when they're confident, when they do a lot of talking," Canelo said with a smirk. "I like breaking their faces when they play like that." Canelo's words were not just a prediction, but a warning. The Mexican superstar thrives on challenges, and the more confident his opponents are, the more satisfaction he seems to take in dismantling them. "It'll be the beatdown of his life," Canelo added, making it clear that he's not just looking to win, he's looking to dominate. While Berlanga may have knockout power, Canelo's experience, intelligence, and sheer willpower make him a terrifying opponent. "The experience I have, the intelligence, my boxing ability, I've already won," Canelo declared. In many ways, he may be right. The mental games, physical preparation, and psychological warfare all point to a fighter who is more than ready for whatever Berlanga throws his way. But this is not the only training video that has surfaced recently. In another released clip, Canelo was seen working the heavy bag, not focusing on his neck but on power punches, signaling his readiness for a toe-to-toe battle with Berlanga. Berlanga's fans and critics dissected the footage, with some voicing disappointment at the lack of visible power, expecting the heavy bag to be rocked by Canelo's punches. However, this is part of Canelo's nuanced preparation. He has opted to fine-tune his speed rather than unleash full power this early in his camp. At 34 years old, Canelo understands that pacing himself while sharpening his technique is critical, especially against a dangerous puncher like Berlanga. By reserving his power and focusing on building speed and accuracy, Canelo is setting the stage for a performance where precision could overcome brute force. This measured approach is part of Canelo's evolved strategy after years of experience and success in the ring. Showing that his preparation isn't about theatrics but effectiveness. Although Canelo is coming into this fight as a three-belt champion, he no longer carries the IBF title, having been stripped for not facing his mandatory challenger, William School. Despite this, Canelo's stature in the sport transcends titles, and his focus remains on the quality of opponents rather than belt collection. For Berlanga, this fight is a monumental leap in his career. As he will be fighting arguably one of the greatest boxers of his generation. However, the fact remains that Berlanga's record has been built against second-tier opposition, leading to skepticism about his ability to compete at this level. Berlanga has yet to face a truly elite opponent, and his most notable victories against Patrick McCessie and Jason Quigley haven't done much to elevate his reputation. These opponents, despite their top 15 rankings, are generally viewed as stepping stones rather than top-tier talents. Berlanga's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has been criticized for guiding him through a path of least resistance, securing victories against fighters that aren't dangerous but are ranked just high enough to give Berlanga the appearance of legitimacy. Hearn, who has built a reputation for strategically matching his fighters against winnable opponents, ensured that Berlanga remained undefeated by avoiding riskier fights. This method has worked up until now, but against Canelo, Berlanga is finally stepping into the deep end. The question now becomes whether Berlanga's power can carry him to victory or whether his lack of high-level experience will be exposed. Fans on social media have been vocal about Canelo's choice of Berlanga as his opponent, with some arguing that a fighter like David Benavidez or David Morrell would have provided a sterner test. Paulie Malignaggi, a boxing expert, expanded on these perspectives, suggesting that while Berlanga is a winnable fight for Canelo, it isn't the kind of challenge that would push him to his limits. Malignaggi went as far as to say that fighting Berlanga was preferable to risking a loss to Benavidez or Morrell on such short notice. Malignaggi's comments align with the general mood of fans who feel that while Berlanga is a hard hitter, he lacks the technical skill and ring IQ to truly test Canelo. Nonetheless, with Canelo already deep into training, his focus remains on refining his power punches and preparing for the task at hand. One of the most compelling aspects of this matchup is Berlanga's physical size. Berlanga knows it too. Standing tall and naturally carrying more weight than Canelo, Berlanga has a clear advantage in terms of sheer mass. His ability to drain down to 168 lbs for the super middleweight division while carrying the size of a light heavyweight makes him a formidable presence in the ring. This physical advantage could give Berlanga an edge if he uses his size to pressure Canelo early in the fight. However, size alone doesn't win fights. Berlanga will need to deliver more than just power shots if he hopes to pull off an upset. His aggression in previous fights, particularly against McCrory earlier this year, shows that he can come out of the gate quickly, but his tendency to rely solely on power has left him vulnerable to more technical opponents. Canelo, who has made a career out of neutralizing larger opponents, will likely look to exploit these weaknesses by outmaneuvering Berlanga and landing precise, well-timed shots. For Berlanga, this fight represents a make-or-break moment in his career. Despite his unbeaten record, the quality of his opponents leaves much to be desired. Facing Canelo, a battle-hardened veteran, presents a challenge unlike anything Berlanga has encountered before. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation where a victory could propel him into stardom, but a loss could expose the limitations in his game and potentially derail his career. Eddie Hearn, who has carefully maneuvered Berlanga's career thus far, knows that a win against Canelo would be career-defining. But he also understands the risks. Berlanga is chasing the bag, as he stated, and the financial incentives for taking a fight of this magnitude are undeniable. But for Hearn, the long-term viability of Berlanga as a top-tier fighter is at stake, and a poor showing against Canelo could diminish his marketability. Canelo's power is one of his most underrated aspects. His ability to break down opponents methodically and finish fights with devastating combinations has been the cornerstone of his success. Despite some fans expecting a more dramatic display of power during his training sessions, Canelo's past performances have shown that he reserves his best for the ring. His knockout power, coupled with his technical acumen, makes him a dangerous opponent for anyone in the 168 lb division. When Canelo lands his shots cleanly, they often have a cumulative effect, wearing down opponents and forcing them into mistakes. Berlanga, for all his size and power, has shown vulnerabilities in his defense, and Canelo will undoubtedly look to exploit those openings. However, even with all that Canelo is putting in for this fight, let's let's not forget that Berlanga has been working out himself too. Berlanga's training camp is laser-focused on preparing him for the most significant test of his career against the seasoned Canelo Álvarez. From working on his distance control with the jab to enhancing his conditioning, the goal is clear: to give himself the best chance of defeating one of the sport's living legends. One of the key aspects emphasized in Berlanga's training is his jab, a critical weapon against Canelo Álvarez. To stand a chance against a fighter with Canelo's experience and skill, Berlanga knows his jab needs to be sharp and persistent. His head trainer, Mark Farrett, highlighted this focus during a recent training episode. His weight looks good, his conditioning looks amazing, and today we're going to focus on quick twitch muscles with a lot of catch and shoot drills. We're working on his distance, keeping his leverage, staying out of traps, and ensuring he follows up effectively after throwing combinations. Farrett's plan is to keep Berlanga in the best position to avoid the traps that Canelo is known for setting up. Álvarez, a highly intelligent fighter, excels at drawing opponents into his range before unleashing punishing counterattacks. Keeping Álvarez at bay with the jab and avoiding these traps is going to be central to Berlanga's strategy. Farrett added, "Make sure that lead hand is always out, keeping Canelo as much at bay as possible." Berlanga himself echoed these sentiments, fully understanding the importance of his jab against a fighter like Canelo. Everybody that beat him convincingly beat him with a jab. Berlanga said during the video. This insight from Berlanga highlights how crucial it will be for him to establish and maintain his range. Both of Canelo's losses, against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2013 and Dimitri Bivol in 2022, came at the hands of fighters who were able to control distance effectively with the jab. In fact, the jab was also a significant factor in the highly contested trilogy between Álvarez and Gennady Golovkin. GGG's powerful jab gave Canelo problems, especially in their first fight, which was ruled a controversial draw. Many believed Golovkin had done enough to win that bout, and a large part of that success came from his ability to utilize his jab. For Berlanga, this historical context offers a potential blueprint. For victory, Berlanga's goal is to frustrate Canelo by keeping him at range with the jab, just as Floyd Mayweather and Gennady Golovkin did. However, while understanding the strategy is one thing, executing it against a master of in-ring adjustments like Canelo is another challenge entirely. The training videos from Berlanga's camp also showcase him working on his conditioning with an oxygen mask, reinforcing the need for him to be fully prepared for the grueling nature of this bout. Berlanga's trainer, Farrett, reminds him that mental focus between rounds will be just as important as physical endurance. "You should have no problem going back out there every round," Farrett says. "The only problem you're going to have is if you don't lock in and understand when you come into that round what happened in the 3 minutes before. You've got to forget that," Farrett instructed. "You've got to say, let me just go recover in 30 seconds, 40 seconds, so I could get ready to go back out there." This piece of advice emphasizes the importance of mental resilience in a fight of this magnitude.
Nice. Nice, get ready.
Nice. That was good.
Especially against a fighter as experienced as Álvarez. There will be moments when things don't go Berlanga's way. Staying mentally composed and resetting between rounds will be key to maintaining focus and following the game plan. As the fight between Berlanga and Canelo approaches, the odds still favor Canelo due to his extensive experience and well-rounded skill set. Canelo's training, with its emphasis on power and precision, will likely be effective in breaking down Berlanga's defenses, especially given his ability to adapt mid-fight. However, Berlanga's youth, raw power, and focus on his jab during training should not be underestimated. If he can consistently keep Canelo at a distance with his jab and avoid getting trapped, he could make the fight more competitive than anticipated. Berlanga's power is a potential game changer. A clean hit could cause significant trouble for Canelo. Ultimately, though, Canelo's superior ring IQ and experience are likely to give him the edge. While Berlanga's jab may create opportunities for him, Canelo's relentless pressure and tactical acumen could prove too much in the later rounds. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.